This is the last week we're going to talk about cinema therapy. Well, we may talk about it again. But one of the things that is going to happen, this doesn't have another, it should have another leg. So I got three legs. Okay. Next week we'll only, this week, yeah, next week we're going to start with uh, social media. I'm reading it right now. I'm reading the book right now, so it's really kind of interesting. So let's go ahead and get started talking about social media. Cinema therapy theory and application, chapter 4. This is in the Hesley and Hesley textbook. In the first film, homework exercise, therapists should give thorough instructions. It is important to establish the therapeutic content with a brief rationale for using films in therapy. The description of why a particular film has been selected, and assurance that the exercise will be processed in therapy. Normalize the exercise. Reassure clients that film homework has been used with other clients and that results have been positive. Provide a rationale for why a particular film is being assigned, what issues the film will address, why the film is being assigned now. Describe the characters that a client should note. What are some of the similarities between the client and the character? Discuss completely any scenes that might be problematic for a client, the language, sexual situations, affairs, violence. Choose an alternate film if the client's concerns are not resolved. Assure the client that the exercise will be thoroughly processed in a debriefing session, if necessary. Keep notes. Stop the film when you have an insight. This is a suggestion for the client. You want them to keep notes, to stop the film when they have insight. Think about how the film applies to their situation. Replay important scenes. If you are watching with a partner, pause to discuss important aspects or agree to discuss them at the end. Note characters you particularly like as well as ones you dislike. Make a note about why. At the close of the film, write down the main points you want to discuss in therapy. Clients are faced with a creative problem when given a film assignment by a therapist. They realize that the therapist believes the film is related to their problem. Although the therapist has made a suggestion about how they might connect to the film, the exact nature of that connection is up to them. So the assignment is a puzzle they will attempt to solve. Our working assumption is that clients will extract from the viewing that which is most important to them. Films are multifaceted and draw from clients those aspects that are most salient at a particular time. We are curious about what connections, of all the possible connections, clients might make with a film. What will stand out to them? As a therapist, we have our ideas about what conclusions clients will come to. But clients almost always surprise us with their unique solutions to the puzzle. Sometimes clients will have interpretations that are in sharp contrast to a therapist's idea. Differences in interpretation between therapist and client can also lead to productive insights. The power of cinema therapy is in the interplay between therapist and client. Ask why. Remedies for bad connections. Ask why. What was the client looking for and what did they see? Find out if some element in the film violated important values. The girl with the dragon tattoo. This is kind of an interesting movie. Um, I just saw parts of it and it just didn't make any sense. And then I saw the whole movie and I went, "Ooh, okay, this is making sense. Now I understand." Oh, the part that may violate important values. She's raped by her um, by a police official, and he has anal intercourse with her. At some point, she gets revenge, and I haven't seen it for a while, so I don't really remember. But of course, that might be fairly offensive to just about everybody. Maybe not, but having being raped anally just doesn't might offend a lot of people. Ask how the story was different from their own experience. Explore the dissimilarities thoroughly. Consider denial as a possibility. If the client is strongly averse to a character the therapist had suggested as a possible match, does the client dislike arise from a mistaken identity or from too close an identity? Look for basic differences in perception. If the film appeared useful to the therapist but the client didn't agree, review the client's main concerns as well as therapy objectives. Perhaps this disagreement points to more fundamental ones. Have the client suggest another film. Because the film I assigned doesn't describe your situation, let's talk about one you've seen that might. Cinema therapy builds on previous assignments addressing concerns as they arise in ongoing therapy. Clients have a good experience with an initial film will be eager to receive new film assignments that correspond specifically to emerging issues. Therapists should assign follow-up films that target through a character or a theme an issue that has become central in therapy. Clients in cinema therapy will begin looking for films that address their problems and will share their discoveries with their therapist. Because of the ownership involved, these films can have more of an impact than films the therapist suggests. When therapists conduct follow-up discussions with clients, they begin with open-ended questions that reflect their curiosity about a client's impression of the film. What did they find useful? How did the film strike them? Any value with someone in your situation? Even clients who dislike a film may add a note of promise. It was hard to take because it hit too close to home. Most film assignments should be followed by therapeutic conversation for maximum effect. And this is, of course, is the famous movie The Burning Bed. This is a lady who was beaten on a fairly frequent basis by her husband. Her children wanted her to leave, but she couldn't. She was afraid that he might come and get her, come and uh, harm the children. So one night when he was drunk and passed out in bed, she set it on fire and killed him. And of course, she went to jail for it. But there were a lot of people that thought that she shouldn't have gone to bed, or gone to bed, that she shouldn't have gone to jail. The therapeutic rule that the therapists give credit for positive changes to clients also applies to cinema therapy. If clients watch films and their lives improve, film discussion is elective. A character therapist believe will appear to clients is not always the character with whom the client identifies. The therapist should start follow-up conversations by focusing on the character with whom a client has identified, which may represent the self-concept. Although the therapist takes the client's response as a turning point, the therapist may find it productive to create a dialogue between other film characters and the client. Follow-up questions: which character did you most identify with? In what ways was that character similar to or different from you? What attributes would you like to take from that character? What aspects of that character would you avoid? Are there other characters in the film who present positive options? In what ways? Who were the antagonists and what obstacles did they present? How are they similar to the people or situations in your own world? How did the protagonist succeed in overcoming the challenge? How can you use a similar strategy to overcome your own challenges? Therapists must also pay attention to characters clients dislike and ask whether these characters have counterparts in the real world. We question a client about how an antagonistic character represents an obstacle and how the obstacle was overcome. Have the client list adjectives that describe how the character solved the central problem. Have the client apply those adjectives to their own situation. How would those qualities help a client reach therapy goals? Determine if the client has a significant concern with how a film character solved the central problem. If so, what is the concern? Find ways to modify the solution so that it works for the client. And that is the end of the chapter. I can promise you next chapter will be longer because we're going to get into social media. The Fault in Our Stars. I've never seen the movie, but my wife won't watch it. We've read all of the John Green books, and I guess this one really made her cry. This book did. Anyway, she won't watch the movie. uh, anyway, okay, I'll see you guys next week. I'll talk to you guys next week.